Today on the show, we are talking with COGNURO and TAP app, and we'll be talking wellness with our favorite board-certified plastic surgeon, Grant A. Fairbanks from Fairbanks Art of Plastic Surgery. And Trip will be teaching you all about
how to look like you're rich, even if you're not.
Oof, it's going to be good. Stick around for Talk 365 TV. We are starting right now.
And welcome back to the show. By the way, I have more people comment on seeing the show after 2.5 Men late at night or early in the morning.
Well, we bookend your day. And then, of course, we're on YouTube 24/7, 365, so you can always catch us there. But there are a lot of people either up really early or 2.5 Men, the burning the midnight oil. Sometimes it's more, I think, people decompress about that point.
You know what's funny about show business? Charlie Sheen and Chuck Lorre, the guy who invented 2.5 Men and Big Bang Theory.
Every show on TV he invented.
He was amazing. They hated each other at the end.
Really?
Yeah, so Charlie Sheen had some drug and alcohol issues and some other stuff. But they are working together on another project.
I mean, sometimes chemistry, be it good or bad, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes when they hate each other, it's good chemistry. And sometimes when they love each other.
2.5 Men is a show that you can't admit that you love around really smart people.
I admit it all the time. I love 2.5 Men.
I've never watched Big Bang Theory.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, that show was even bigger numbers-wise. But it's funny how people can get together. But I want to show you.
Okay, your money tip. Yes, let's get to it.
So I bought a case of this at Sam's Club. It is a great sparkling water.
Wait, so you bought actual Pellegrino at Sam's Club?
24 packs.
Okay.
But it's beyond my budget. So what I do is I keep these bottles because it's about 16 ounces, perfect size. Then I get Kroger Club Soda with a funnel. And I pour it in and I seal it. And I save at least 75 cents a day. If I live to be $1 million, you do the math.
I will pay you 75 cents to never tell me this story again.
No. This is classy.
You shouldn't do this. That sounds like way too much effort. But you know what? I heard today a tip on saving money at the grocery store when everybody's doing it. So this is not unheard of because you really can whittle it down. You've given me the trial before. Watch what I spend and keep track of it when you're doing all of the little things like drinks and sodas when you run into a gas station. And it is an amazing amount of money you can spend without thinking about it.
My wife went to Crown Burger today. Great food.
Yeah.
She had a hamburger, a small Coke, fries, and onion rings, $17. People spend a lot of money. So this is my tip. Again, if you save 75 cents a day, you live to be 1 million years old. When we come back, we're going to show you some other good things that might be a little bit more applicable than my cheapness. We'll be right back.
When we realized that our daughter truly was having such a hard time getting the airflow that she needed, this inspired us to explore Dr. Fairbanks because we knew not only of his expertise on this exact surgery, but we also were concerned about my daughter breathing freely. She had broken her nose at a younger age. After Grace's surgery, Dr. Fairbanks sat down with me and he said, you may notice that she has a little bit of a personality shift, and it truly has affected her ability to sleep and really has brought up her moods. Myself, my husband, my daughter, and my son-in-law, we would all recommend Dr. Fairbanks. He is an incredible plastic surgeon.
Today's wellness news you can use is brought to you by COGNURO.
Welcome back, everybody. We are talking a little wellness news you can use now. Trip, what if I told you that you could download an app that would help you prevent Alzheimer's, memory loss, and even in some cases help turn those symptoms around in a matter of a few weeks, and probably for about 1 minute a day?
Was there a question in there?
You got nothing? You need the TAP app.
I might, but show me. Tell me more.
So now what if you had a kiddo that was struggling not only with emotional outbursts and things like that at school, having a really hard time, but not even reading at grade level, and as little as 3 weeks doing 1 minute a day with the child on this app, they could be turned around from an emotional level, as well as 3 months be reading grade level and being top of the class. So this is an incredible piece of technology in functional neurology. They have used metronome and timing to work with their brain exercises to help develop new neural pathways and neuroplasticity. It's been around forever, but the thing about the timing is they just don't know if you're actually doing the timing they're asking you to do. And there was no way to track it. So you'd have typical metronomes. Your functional neurologist would be giving you great exercises to help you be faster, better, stronger with your brain, but there was no way to really know you're working at the right speed for your brain. And it turns out that is like the key to the kingdom for everyone, from dementia to kiddos having struggles with ADHD and emotional outbursts. I mean, it's all tied together with the way the brain functions and how to get those new pathways going. And TAP app does it for you. There's an assessment right in the app so you can find out what your speed is, and then you can get going and be on your way to faster, better, stronger you.
Wow. So the nuns at my school used to do tap app. Yeah, they tap you on the hands with a ruler or a pointer. Being beaten does have a tendency to focus you on what's going on. My assumption is this is much more child and adult friendly.
It is much more child and adult friendly. It's an incredible piece of equipment. And the case studies they've been able to do within Brain Rehab Clinic and COGNURO, because Dr. Hatches, of course, the doctor at Brain Rehab Clinic, he is like boots on the street. He has been creating these products with his team at COGNURO to better his industry while he's working on building it with his own patients every step of the way. So it's incredible. It is so fun to think about in the world we live in right now, that having a tool be able to help you get through everything. Technology, you can make it work to your advantage if you're able to do some of these brain hacks. And really, you can turn back the clock when it comes to neuroplasticity. So,
tell me more.
Dr. Hatch is going to give you all of the technical information that we clearly didn't get to, and we'll just be tapping away while you get all the information you need from him.
Talk 365 TV's Wellness Minute is brought to you by COGNURO with wellness team expert Dr. John Hatch.
What they used to believe, the research that's out there, is you need 45 minutes of metronome training for up to 12 to 15 weeks to get an outcome. And I'm seeing that type of outcome in 2 to 3 weeks with the correct speed. Again, the correct speed is what makes all the difference in a brain's high executive functioning. If you're struggling in school, if you're struggling with memory, if you're struggling with precision, TAP app is your answer to fix your problem and get you to the next level. Hi, I'm Dr. John Hatch here at Brain Rehab Clinic to introduce to you the new TAP app. You might be asking yourself, why do I need this? What's so important about this? I've been a practitioner for over 10 years, and I have seen advancements in all the fields of neurology, in brain development, in assessing the brain, and yet there's been one thing that has stayed pretty neutral throughout, and that's a metronome. Why do we use timing and metronome? Because it's all about timing. Timing is a precision area of your brain that deals with the high executive frontal lobe, your temporal lobe, that stores memory, language, learning, mathematics, artistic language, everything, as well as the cerebellum that coordinates the whole thing together. And if you don't do it in the correct timing and the correct precision, you're not going to get the outcome. Currently, what we have out there is a few metronomes that people play on their phones with their app. Now, here's the biggest problem. One, we first discovered that in the world of metronome timing type of systems, there's just one speed fits all, which we know that's not gonna work. But then there's no accountability whether you're gonna hit the speed on the right dot at the right time. And the ones that are out there, they're high functioning, high cost, and accessibility is little to none. Or they break on a regular basis. For the last 7 years, I've been giving brain exercises with specific speeds, but I don't know, did they hit the speed right? Do I have the speed going in at 30 beats per minute and their eyes are moving at 35 beats per minute? Do I have the speed programmed at 40 beats per minute and their eyes are moving at 50 or they're moving their head. If you need precision and you need to improve your brain, don't you need that daily? How do we do that? Simply on an app. TAP app has solved the biggest concern I have been dealing with patients with developmental disorders, learning disorders, reading issues, mathematical issues, aging brain, dementia, Alzheimer's, even those high executives that just feel they're not functioning at the level that they should. Or what we like to call for others, that mommy brain that gets fatigued and exhausted. And how do you bring that brain back up? Activate it correctly. And the best way to activate it is by timing and precision accuracy. And we do that within the TAP app. Now you might say, I don't need precision, I'm doing really well. Are you? Do we have the full development of our brain? Are we elderly and we're losing that cognitive preciseness? Are we developmentally delayed and we're trying to fit a child into a system that doesn't work with that child? Why? Because if a teacher talks really fast or a teacher talks really slow, but your brain processes at the opposite of that teacher, you're not getting the results in school. So school becomes more problematic. Now, do we need a teacher that can speak to all the different speeds? No, we just need the children to be training at their individual speed so they can process at whatever the teacher gives. This is the magic of what true metronome timing can do for our brains. Now you might ask, well, what speed is mine? That's the great thing about our app. Our app, under the assessment, you can go right in and assess the speed and see what speed processes best for your brain. Generally, people are somewhere between the 50 and 60 range, but it doesn't matter. It matters what your brain needs. And once you learn that, then you can train at any other speed and your brain can process at the highest level. Again, for both the developing brain, for the high executive brain that wants to keep pushing its level, for the musician that wants to be more precise, for the artist that wants to be more precise in his artistic side, for the sports athlete that wants to have correct timing and precision. In anything and everything that we do, the research shows that when you have timing and you do anything you do to a metronome, the correct speed is what makes all the difference in a brain's high executive functioning. How do we know if they're exactly accurate in training that timing mechanism? And this involves your frontal lobe, your temporal lobe, and your cerebellum that balances everything that works with memory, communication, working memory, recalling old things. Like this all works together. So if we can precisely prescribe where your breakdown is and your speed and give you the solution at your speed and train at that speed, it's going to make all the difference. And not only for your outcome, even a practitioner like myself can know you're actually doing the exercise correctly and getting the outcome that you need because the results are consistently logged within the app. And you can share that with your doctor, you can share that with your family member, whatever you want to do, so we can handle all the chaos that comes at us in every way. I want you to know that I love TAP. I use it on a daily basis. My children ask to use it. They want to improve their brain. Everyone always wants to do it, but it always seems so daunting and you don't know where to begin. Well, if you don't have that drive and that motivation, download it on your phone, on your tablet, and you can do it right here, right now, and make the difference in your brain to give you the drive to get off that couch and go change your world, go change your environment, and make a difference in your life today.
Today's Talk 365 TV's Talking Wellness is brought to you by Fairbanks Art of Plastic Surgery. And welcome back to the show. Now we're going to be talking about breast augmentation.
All the top breast procedures, because this includes breast reduction. They can do things with fat grafting. There is man breast surgery. There's all kinds of things And Dr. Grant A. Fairbanks from Fairbanks Art of Plastic Surgery for a limited time is offering $500 off on this procedure. So now's the time. Do you want some man boob strip?
You know, all guys want to have big.
Everyone wants to look like a Marvel action hero,
We do.
right? I even do.
But all joking aside, after living down in Vegas for 24 years, a lot of people who wanted to have breast augmentation would come up to Salt Lake. So it's kind of weird that you would think maybe breast augmentation in Vegas would be a big deal.
I would assume.
But yet they came up to Salt Lake.
Well, Dr. Grant A. Fairbanks is not only an incredibly skilled plastic surgeon, but he is also an artist. And so when you're working with him, the consultation process is so unique. You get to have this conversation where he will basically take in account your measurements, your height, the way your body works. He draws it all out. So when you're talking about size, you're really like it is customized to you. And by the time you finish that consultation, you'll really know whether or not you want to get this procedure done. And he really helps answer all of your questions. But before we get there, here's Dr. Grant A. Fairbanks to tell you all about the top breast procedures he provides.
Today's Talk 365 TV's Talking Wellness is brought to you by Fairbanks Art of Plastic Surgery with wellness team expert Dr. Grant A. Fairbanks.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Talking Wellness series. I'm Holly Love, and today I am back with our wellness team expert, Dr. Grant A. Fairbanks from Fairbanks Art of Plastic Surgery. Hi, Dr. Fairbanks.
Morning, Holly. How are you?
I am doing so good, and I am so excited about today's topic. So we're going to dive right in because we are talking all about breast augmentation. So we are going to review all the options, who's a good candidate, all the things that you want to know before you go in and have a consultation about having this done. So let's start with candidates. Who is having this procedure done?
It's typically a woman who is unhappy with the size of their breast. They feel somewhat self-conscious, wants to be able to fill out a swimming suit a little better or a blouse. Often it will also be the woman who's had children and has found that she's feeling deflated after breastfeeding and feels that she would like some more volume, and they just want to feel more feminine. And so breast augmentation or breast enhancement is within the top 3 procedures in cosmetic plastic surgery. It is very popular and it does make a lot of people happy.
So beyond that, is there an age limit for who is able to get that done?
Typically I like to start at the age of 18 and older. I've even done breast augmentations on women in their 70s. But typically those are people who've already had the breast augmentations and we're replacing them.
I see. Well, let's talk about the types of augmentation you can have, because there is silicone, there is saline, there are different sizes. How does that all work?
Well, the silicone breast implant is the most common way of augmenting a breast. And the FDA finally approved these in 2007 for cosmetic purposes. The new silicone implants are safer than they were, say, back in the 80s when the shells were very thin and the gel was actually more liquid. Those implants would rupture. Nowadays, the implants have a thicker shell and the gel is more cohesive. So these don't leak as much or as readily as the older implants. And the FDA recommends that after 3 years that the patients start doing MRIs every 2 years, because really that's the best way of determining the leakage. And it tends to be a favorite amongst patients. They feel that it feels a little more natural, and we've been using these for breast reconstruction all along, even during the moratorium that started in the 1990s. So the silicone breast implant is now the most common implant that we use nowadays. But your alternative is a saline implant, which is the silicone shell, but then once we put it in the body, we fill it up with salt water, so it looks very much like a silicone implant.
Just more hard. At the end of the day.
Some have told me it feels like a water balloon. Some think that it feels very similar to the silicone implants. But when these fail, these deflate, come back to this, and then we know that it's deflated because the breast is smaller.
And you're saying with as strong as they are, typically it's not like they pop, it's more that it's just over time they get a crease and then they rub and then they just get a small hole or a thinning.
Yeah, there's a thinning in the shell.
Well, let's talk placement, because I know there is under the muscle and over the muscle, there is different places you can have an incision. What do you suggest for your patients?
My preferred method is under the breast. We call it an inframammary incision, which is underneath the breast. Through that incision, I can see better the anatomy. I feel that I have better control with bleeding and protection of the nerves that provide sensation to the breast. The thing is eventually the implant will have to be removed.
Right.
And so typically when it's replaced, it'll be removed through the inframammary, and then it has to come out that way. And so might as well start with it from the beginning.
And the scar too, you can hardly see it. It falls right under the fold. It's nothing to be concerned about. You would have to have a microscope basically to know that it was there.
I haven't had any patients complain about them.
Well, so beyond saline and silicone, what else do we have?
Well, the other option, I think you're alluding to fat grafting. Fat grafting for breast augmentation is becoming more popular. It is a very good procedure, and it is the more natural way of doing your own breast augmentation. So what do? Liposuction, breast augmentation, well, they're both within the top 3 procedures in cosmetic plastic surgery, so why throw the fat away?
Exactly.
So little liposuction of the hips, the thighs, the belly, and then once we process the fat, we then put it into the breast through 2 port sites, one on the lower inner portion and the lower outer portion. And so the incisions on the breast are very small nicks. And it's through those small nicks that we're able to put the fat through with what we call a cannula. So the size of incisions for fat grafting are significantly smaller than those for silicone or saline implants.
I'm gonna say how many of you have not said, why can't they just take it from here and here and here and stick it in here?
And the answer is yes.
I love that answer, yes, but there are some precautions because I can't donate for you if they're just too skinny to have their own, but you do have to have a certain amount of fat.
Well, the limiting factors is how much fat the patient can give me. Well, give themselves.
And how many times do they need to have this done?
Well, this is a procedure where less is more, because the fat that you transfer from, say, the hips to the breast needs to have a blood supply to stay alive. And if you put in too much, there's a certain amount of fat that won't survive because it doesn't have a blood supply. So typically the patient will have at least 2 and sometimes 3 procedures to finally finish up their ultimate goal.
Well, let's talk size, because I think that is always a very big topic of concern for people who are wanting this. Like, what size should you be? How big? How little? Is there any kind of artistic measurement? You, with your artistic background in sculpting, I would imagine you know exactly what a body needs to look great.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that. Personally, I like to see somebody who's proportional, and I go over proportions with my patients. So for more petite women, a smaller implant is what you want, and if you're taller or broader chest, you want the bigger one. It's the width of the implant. However, the size of breast is really individualized.
Well, let's talk recovery, because I imagine recovery for a typical silicone or saline breast augmentation versus the fat grafting breast aug has a little bit of different downtime. So let's talk, what can people expect from the results?
For the implant breast augmentations, it can be a little sore. Being placed under the muscle, it stretches the muscle, but you know, it's tolerated really well. And so I ask people not to do any heavy lifting or strenuous exercise for about 6 weeks. And I find that I get good results with my patients in doing that. With the fat grafting, it's pretty much the same. I ask them to be very careful with the breast, especially for the first couple of weeks, because that's the time when we're developing a nice blood supply to keep that fat alive.
Well, now for those people out there who are interested in having this done, what's the next thing for them to do?
Well, the easiest thing is to call us. You can find a telephone number on our website, fairbanksmd.com, and call and set up an appointment.
Or you can go to their website, fairbanksmd.com, click on the button at the top that says request a consult, fill out that form, and a patient coordinator will get a hold of you straight away to set up your appointment's date and time. And the consultation process, as I mentioned before with this guy, is absolutely phenomenal. He will thoroughly go through everything that you need to know, want to know. As I mentioned, he is a 4th generation artist. He brings this combination of artistic skill with advanced surgical techniques techniques, and you couldn't ask for a better advocate to walk you through any procedure. Dr. Fairbanks, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Holly. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Talk 365 TV right after this.
Talk 365 TV's Wellness Minute is brought to you by Brain Rehab Clinic.
Hey, my name is James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy, and I'm best known for doing 50 Ironmans, 50 days in 50 states, and most recently, 100 consecutive full-distance triathlons with no days off. And once you complete something like that, you realize how powerful the mind is, and everybody's fascinated with preparation and execution, and then when recovery happens, you realize how much trouble you're in. And I've had at least 6 concussions, and then also broke my back at that Conquer 100. And the back has healed itself, but I now have this incredible pain. Never thought I'd run again until I found these guys right here, and Dr. Hatch is incredible, and he has totally changed my life. I'm now back to running pain-free. In fact, I'm going to the World Championships this year to be competitive again, and that I never thought would be possible. So thank you so much to everybody here, and I would recommend it to every single person that's ever experienced any trauma or anything in their lives. This place will change you.
And welcome back to the show. We've covered a couple areas that are important, your brain
Yep.
and breast augmentation. I mean, is there anything else?
I don't think so.
It's funny how in Vegas people came up to Salt Lake. And we are so lucky in Salt Lake for a number of different reasons. And the medical community is one of the big ones. With Nevada Childhood Cancer Foundation, a lot of our families with kids who are sick came up to Salt Lake, and, you know, Primary Children's is amazing. And, you know, there's so many reasons why living in Utah is great, and obviously outdoors and everything else, but we are so lucky to have so many great medical professionals here.
Trip, speaking of medical professionals and you, are we hockeying and skiing?
I am playing for Mellow Yellow, which is a team up in Park City. Our last game, we had a crowd of one person, and he was the scorekeeper.
Wait, where is it?
At Park City Ice Rink. We had a crowd of one person, and he was disgusted. He wanted a raise after watching us play, but it is so much fun and great group of people. And this is my second game, my last game. So it's always a weird dynamic. You walk into a locker room, and I know one person on the team. And if you're on a team, a new person on a team, you can't let your personality out. You're very quiet.
Oh, okay.
And so second game,
You let a little more Trip out.
yeah, by the third game, it'll be all out.
Full Trip.
But I did score 2 goals my first game.
Good job.
On our goalie.
Oh.
Not good. So I said to the goalie before the game, do you want me to block shots, which is where defensemen will get in front of the puck. Now the problem is if you don't block the shot, but just redirect it.
It goes right in the hole. In the bad way.
Bingo.
Wrong hole, which is never good.
It is never good. And our goalie, I only thought I did it once, but I talked to him before our game last Sunday. And I said, sorry about that goal that went off me. He goes, which one? I go, well, that's a bad sign.
Now, what about skiing? Tell me about that really quick.
We were having our banquet. I'm honored as a 10-year employee tomorrow night up at Snowbird. And it is like the show. 10 years at Snowbird have gone by in a blink of an eye.
I have no idea where it went. But wait, you will be skiing. Will you find Jim up there? Are you going to be aggressive skiing this year?
No.
But casual.
Casual. If you go on my tour, you're in no danger of skiing over a cliff.
Well, that is good. I wouldn't ever want to ski over a cliff. Most people probably don't.
At Snowbird, most people do. Hey, we got to get out of here.
All right, we will let you guys go. We hope you have a wonderful day trip. Thank you as always. 10 years. Can you believe it?
10 years with Holly, 10 years at Snowbird. They've gone with a blink of an eye. I've even gotten married for the first time during that period. Time is speeding up. Speaking of that, we'll let you go and have a great day. For Holly, I'm Trip. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.